My goodness. What? Are you lotioning up there, Mike?
Oh, yeah. We got a new sponsor. Did you know this?
Oh, I did not know we had a sponsor.
We got a sponsor.
Are they actually paying us money?
Well, I hope so.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if depending how good of a job we do, we'll have a sponsor.
Who is the sponsor?
Well, sometimes, you don't always have your own, your at-home Bacta tank. So sometimes I like to have Bacta on the go. You know what I'm saying? Bacta on the go. When, you're out in the middle of nowhere. And at home, I don't have Bacta on the go. Well, here I do. Bacta on the go. Basically, let's say a situation. You ever run into a situation where, man, I wish I had a Bacta tank because someone just dragged me through a fiery lava pit. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you go, hey. Sometimes you go, hey, someone just slashed my arm with a lightsaber. Hey, somebody just basically shot my guts out and I should die. Hey, Bacta tank. Well, I don't have a Bacta tank. Sometimes I'm at work. I don't have a Bacta tank. So now if you need something on the go, hey, Bacta. That's right. Bacta on the go.
It's the Speaking Nerdy podcast with your Bacta host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
That's right. Anything you want to come back to life in Disney, Bacta tank to go. Hey, Ricky. That's it. Hey, Dan.
Leckie. Oh my goodness, that is the most amazing picture.
I love that.
Dan,
I love that, Dan.
I really love your
I love the
dory
fish.
Head.
I
That's
do.
Hysterical.
Yes. Yeah, so
back to on the go.
After watching Kenobi and then we've seen The Mandalorian and we've seen the Book of Boba Fett, I think, and you know how Disney, think about it, how we can bring everybody back to life with Bacta. And why not have Bacta on the go? Anyway.
Honestly, okay, so I know we're going to talk about Kenobi tonight.
Yeah.
But honestly, I when I watched this episode, the exact same thing popped into my head. It was like, dang, they're really trying to sell this Bacta thing hard.
I know it. I didn't realize how great Bacta is. Hey,
thanks for liking the Christian Nerds show.
Well, how nice.
Dan Leckie. Oh my goodness.
That's a good shout out for you, man. A good job.
I know,
there.
thank
That's
you.
nice. That's nice.
For those who are curious, I do another show called Christian Nerds Unite.
Nice.
And I have a lot of guests.
You do have a lot of guests.
I do have a lot of guests.
You have a lot of guests.
And every once in a while, Mike comes onto the show.
Sometimes I'll show up, and then
Speaking of, when Obi-Wan is over, you and I should do a review on Christian Nerds Unite.
Oh, we should do that. I would like doing that. Yes. That'd be really fun to do.
That'd be cool.
That'd be fun to do, yes. So, yeah, it's funny. Yes, you're right. Bacta is the way to go. Bactine. That's why they have Bactine. You know this, right? Because that was back in the day. Okay.
Quit saying Bacta. Bacta. Okay, so I just have suddenly got this in my head now that we need to write a theme jingle to the Mentos.
Yes.
It's back to life.
Back to life. I'm not dead. And so, and then this whole thing comes out. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is my favorite bit we've done in a long time.
I know too. Well, it's funny. You saw the same thing as I did. I'm thinking, man, they really like this technology. I never, like throughout the entire. One time you've seen it like an Empire Strikes Back, and then that's it. That's all you ever seen it in. And then after that, you didn't see it. And the prequels, nah, you didn't see it. I mean, you didn't even see it with, when Palpatine dragged half of Anakin's carcass, I didn't even see that part. I didn't even see him in a Bacta tank. Nope. Maybe I don't remember that. And then, of course, the sequels, they couldn't save that worth a coot anyhow. So why even use a Bacta there? And sorry about that. We're not hating. So anyway, watching the show, it made me wonder, So anyway, before we get into all that goodness, we do have some nerdy news. I did, back to free. Let's see.
Back to free nerdy news. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's going to be one of those shows. You just know that. Is. Yeah. So, that's the wrong one. We just got back. I just got back to. Don't you hate when that happens? Okay. Oh, gosh. Yeah, it was the nerdy news from last. Oh no, that's the nerdy news. That's from before. Hold on a minute, folks. Yeah. That's not it. Why don't you hum a few bars for me here?
Here, I'm going to chat you the link that I think it is.
The link, you think what I think it is?
I think it's that one.
I mean, we are a well-oiled machine, folks.
Man, well, we were going really good.
Yeah, until we got off on the Bacta. Yeah, nothing says
that wacky tobacco.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, there it is.
Is that the right one?
That is the right one. That's awesome. I was just shilling Bacta while we wouldn't do any here. Dan says, so I'm guessing you guys are backing the Bacta tanks like a Wookiee might with a wiki. Oh, that's awesome. So via Variety, this is nerdy news just the past week, and apparently they are coming out with another Joker. I guess that
really, I have not heard this yet.
Todd Phillips has shown Phoenix reading the script for a sequel, and it's the title cover is Joker. I don't know French. It's something and so whatever that means. Oh, it translates to Joker Shared Madness. I have no idea, but that's what the rumors are, and that was that was via Variety. So there you go.
Yeah, that term.
Yes.
Is a mental disorder.
Yes, that's French. Well, and that's what this show is. This show is affecting two or more individuals, usually members of a close family. Well, that's us, basically. I mean, that's us. That's what we should rename the show, is this French variety, and brought to you by Bacta. Bacta. When you don't have a tank at home, have it to go. So
it's gonna be one of those nights, isn't it?
Oh,
hey, if you're watching right now,
yes, right.
Let us know where you're watching from.
That's all right.
Make a comment. We'll put it up on the screen.
That's right.
Dan, we will get to your comment when we get to the talking about the episode.
We will do it, sir. Thank you I appreciate you, Dan, being here and being Bacta with us. So anyway, also too, hey, you've heard about this. It's basically news a while back about it, but Deadpool 3 won't be Disney-fied. That's that's coming out of the mouth of Mr. Feige himself.
Yes.
It is. And the other thing, it's going to stay R-rated as the franchise is. Of course, that's the manner of Deadpool himself, but also.
And the writers from Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2 are returning.
Exactly. And, of course, Ryan Reynolds, of course, you can't have Deadpool without him. But the thing is on this, what I think is interesting is that Kevin Feige confirms that it will be part of the MCU universe. Now, how is that? I mean, I know we've had this conversation before, but this is like we're actually bringing mutants in the fold. I don't know.
We have now seen a Professor X in live action.
Well, that's true. Yes.
So, and now it was a multiverse thing.
Yeah, that's true. It could be.
It could be multiverse.
Hey, well, Well, I mean, speaking of multiverse.
Hey, Rebecca Nelson, watching from Georgia. Good to have you on the show.
There you go.
Thanks for watching.
A Bacta shout out to you. Bacta shout out. Remember, Bacta. If you don't have a tank at home, have Bacta on the go. Okay.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay. Well, we know this is pretty good news for those of us who wasn't able to get to the movie theater. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness coming to Disney Plus June the 22nd. This was via Culture through CNET. And yeah, there you go.
Big month for Disney Plus.
It really
is. I mean, we've got Kenobi happening right now.
Yeah.
We've got Doctor Strange coming in just a couple of weeks now. And then we had Ms. Marvel release Wednesday.
Actually, I saw this.
Week.
Yeah, and this is just under 2 months before Doctor Strange went from the movie theaters to Disney Plus. I mean, that's
about 40. I actually checked the dates. It's about 45 days.
That's a big turnaround.
That is. There was an article probably back in November, I think. Yeah. Back when they were still doing simultaneous releases.
Yeah.
And one of the things that the article had said was that Marvel was planning on starting to do 45-day theatrical release.
Yeah.
And then it would go to streaming.
Going in streaming,
so it looks like they have held to that.
Yeah, interesting. Well, speaking of Miss Marvel, actually episode 1 came out this past week. We were talking about how I thought, we were talking about this might not be something that's really...
It's not really targeted at us.
But I watched it, and I really enjoyed it. It was kind of fresh. It was almost like they had a little bit of that freshness of Napoleon Dynamite kind of weird stuff going on with Mentos Fresh. Yes, right. Back to fresh. If you don't have a tank at home, remember you got Bacta on the go. So,
I've watched about half of the first episode.
Yeah.
And so it totally reminds me of the Hillary Duff show my girls
exactly with the whole that's right,
except with superheroes
superhero, because I had the old little cartoon etching kind of thing.
I can't remember the name. I can't remember the name of the show right now, but Hillary Duff was the actress, and she had the little cartoon character that would pop out, and it was like her little conscience.
Yes, that's right.
But so in this, we're seeing some of her mental thoughts are appearing as cartoons along the way. It's kind of fun. It's interesting.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I mean, it's something different. I say it's kind of fresh because it's not really your normal. But the thing is, from BF Forbes, it says currently not only it's actually one of the best reviewed MCU series on Disney Plus, and it's also at 97% on Rotten Tomatoes from critics. Which I was, because this is episode 1.
Have we seen the audience? Have you looked at the audience score yet?
I have not. If you want to take a look at that,
I'm curious.
Now IMDb, now that's different. I mean, it's like almost in the toilet, and Forbes was kind of making a comparison, thinking that a lot of it is like review bombed. You know how a lot of people will go on there and just discriminately will bomb reviews.
A lot of people are saying that is what Rotten Tomatoes has going on for Kenobi.
Yes,
that it was a lot of it was a concerted effort to dump on the Kenobi show.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ms. Marvel on Rotten Tomatoes audience score of 85. That's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
Audience score of 85 with it doesn't say how many.
Yeah, it doesn't say.
It used to say how many. It used to say how many of each there were, how many reviews, but it looks like tons. I mean, it's not just a few.
Okay.
But yeah, so 85 is not bad.
That's not bad. Another big movie it's hitting big. Even the second week at the box office is Top Gun Maverick. I have not seen it, but I've heard nothing but good things about it from several people.
Oh, hey, so Dan Leckie says Lizzie McGuire. Yes, Dan, that is the name of the show. Sam, yes, it is Lizzie McGuire that we were thinking of.
That's right. Ding, ding, ding. Bacta for you. Yes, awesome. So
you get a Bacta.
You get a Bacta. We all get a Bacta. Okay, so Yeah. So anyway, it from the information I got from, I think this was from via IGN. That's right. It said that Top Gun Maverick has earned its second domestic weekend box office victory. Of course, this is last weekend by earning $86 million in ticket sales, which has ranked in the top highest grossing second weekends in domestic box office history. They said Maverick has now soared to $291 million in North America and has officially become Tom Cruise's highest grossing film ever at a domestic box office.
I can't believe this is his highest grossing film ever.
I know it.
Of all the stuff he's ever been in, this is it.
I know.
This is the pinnacle.
This is the pinnacle for him. Yeah. Internationally, Top Gun Maverick has crossed $257 million and has done its part to help the film reach $548 million globally. So that man, isn't that something?
That's crazy. I'm super happy about it.
I do.
Honestly, when I heard about this film coming out,
I was concerned.
One of the first.
I was concerned
One of the first things I read about it was about the production.
Yeah.
And they talked about, rather than doing a lot of CGI stuff, they were actually going to fly the planes.
That's awesome.
That there was going to be IMAX cameras in the cockpits. I mean, we all know their jump seat.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a real pilot up front, and Tom Cruise is sitting in a second seat that's dressed to look like a pilot seat.
Yeah.
We all know that's dressed up, but just the fact that they were going to take the time to actually shoot it, actually do the aerial acrobatics, and not try to do a bunch of CGI for it, got me interested.
Yeah, well, and from my understanding, they have some cinemas where they have the actual panoramic entire viewing where it wraps around. It's almost like, have you seen this where when they're flying, it goes all the way around, and then when you get to the kind of a normal scene where they're not flying, where you're looking through the actual cockpit window, it closes back into a normal widescreen like you would see at an IMAX. So I don't know where you can go and get a ticket for that. To me, that's amazing. So I don't know. But I would like to go. It's one of those movies that people are telling me you got to see in the movie theater. So
yeah,
I would say things.
From what I read early on, I would agree.
Exactly.
Dan just mentioned Jurassic World comes out today. It opened today.
It did open today.
It did open today. It looks really good, but I'm hearing critics don't like it.
I'm hearing that. I mean, you have it. I mean, you got the old gang back, so I don't know.
They got the band back together,
which I was excited about. So I don't know. Hopefully, the critics say one thing, but the audience
we'll see what the audience says,
because that really what counts to me.
Hopefully, it's good and not leaning entirely on nostalgia.
Exactly. That's always a problem, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's hope.
Even and nowadays, so much is being done based on old properties that it's almost like if you have any nostalgia, everybody thinks it's too much nostalgia.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's hard to please everybody in that situation. Yep. And the very last of nerdy news is that Mark Hamill, he's going to join the cast of Netflix The Sandman. So
really?
Yes. So this is strictly from the nerdiest. So, and let's see here next. Mark Hamill will provide the voice of Marvin Pumpkinhead in the Sandman series. That comes out. It's basically August the 5th.
Yeah,
just a month. Cool. So yeah. So here you go.
I'm definitely going to check that out. I'm not entirely sold on it. I remember reading the Sandman comic books.
Yeah, exactly.
Back in the 90s. The Neil Gaiman ones.
Yes.
When Neil Gaiman took over the writing. And it was interesting. It's weird and dark and strange. I'm not sure it's at this point in my life, I'm not sure it's my thing, but I definitely want to check out the series. At least give it a cursory first episode view.
Well, exactly. Well, I think that's it for nerdy news. Let's do some really quick stupid news real quick. I have a few things that's stupid for the audience. Let's go right ahead to that, sir.
It's the weird and stupid news with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
Well, there's a lot of thievery out there, Ricky, and sometimes the thievery is not by very smart people, as you always know.
I've had some things stolen in my life.
Well, have you had certain things stolen, but it's so plain in sight? Well, a thief makes a getaway on a stolen lawnmower towing a Crimson Tide sign. That
must be right here at home.
That's right. Police is looking. Yes, apparently, yes. Police in Flompton, Alabama on Wednesday asked for the public's help in identifying the suspect, as they have this picture, who also is accused of pilfering a trailer she used to haul away a large A sign often associated with the Crimson Tide sport. Recent update by the police reports we have identified her. Warrant has been signed. Do you know them? Please share. You have any information on this subject identity, please notify us. Help us with our victim stuff back. Help get it back. And basically, the facts they have is that the lawnmower she's riding has been stolen, but from a residence. The trailer she is pulling has been stolen from another residence. The items in the trailer reported stolen from another residence. And the Alabama Alabama A represents the Chiefs' favorite football team, but is also stolen from another individual. And of course, they need the identity of this person. So if you're in Alabama, keep an eye out for this lawn mow lady. You never know.
She just went on a little shopping spree, huh?
She just decided that, hey, I'm taking it all. And that's actually what she did. So
that's funny.
It's funny. Also, too, some people have these life ambitions, these bucket lists, these things that, I don't know, sometimes you wonder, hey, what if I thought, I don't know, how would it be like a dog being for a day? A dog's life. Well, apparently this man from Japan, his lifelong ambition has been to live the life of a four-legged furry animal, and he made it happen. Apparently, this man known as Toko-san paid a company 2 million yen, which is $20,000, to create a unique lifelike costumes of a rough collie that can be worn regularly. Yes. This right here, my friend.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes. Yes.
I was expecting one of those things at the comic book conventions.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. That's crazy.
He's actually in there.
That's insane.
Yes, if you can imagine a dog and a normal dog, it's a bodysuit for a person. And for those who are listening to the audio podcast, it's also quite disturbing to me. He also said he loves he loves four-legged animals, but he chooses a dog, specifically a rough collie, because it's the most realistic, long hair, and it can. Basically, it's probably one of the most commonly, dogs out there as far as the costume goes. He also has a YouTube channel where he features an array of videos in the costume, from rolling over, playing fetch, snuggling with stuffed animals, to more humans who moves and such, waving and flipping pages and bouncing ping pong paddles. Anyway, it's been a sensation across the Twitterverse. People can't get over how realistic the costume is, and commend him for not giving up his dream of wanting to be a dog. Others, however, say no matter how much money you spent, you won't be a real dog. So that is stupid news. And now let's get up. Yes,
gosh.
That is stupid news. Yes.
That has been the Weird and Stupid News with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
And now with our sponsor, remember, you don't have a Bacta tank at home. So remember, Bacta on the go. Hey, I just got drugged through some lava fire. I need some Bacta. Hey, someone just lopped off my arm. Hey, here's some Bacta. So remember, Bacta to go, on the go. Ask for it by name.
Oh,
so we're getting ready to basically... hey, the first photo I see that you have on our list is, guess what? A Bacta tank. Wow. There you go. Awesome. Yep. So we all remember that, the previous.
Shall we give our spoiler?
Oh, let's do that. We're going to, yes, let's go ahead and do.
We are going to be talking about episode 4.
Episode 4.
The Obi Wan Kenobi show.
That's right.
And we'll probably bleed a little bit into previous episodes.
Yes.
But hopefully,
yes, exactly.
if you're okay with us talking about episode 4, you've already watched the other ones
you've
as
seen
well.
the other ones as well.
And before we get buried into it,
yes, sir.
I told Dan we would check out his question.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Let me find his question.
Yes, let's do this here.
Actually, he said don't mention Doctor Strange. She's trying to forget that.
Oh, so well, that's not. Well, that's Dan's review in a nutshell right there. Yeah. So I'll keep that in mind.
Dan asked what I couldn't understand was why Darth Vader couldn't force jump over the fire in episode 3 of the previous episode.
There's a lot of that conversation going on. A lot of that conversation. And I guess you can make up all kinds of stuff. Like one person said he was conflicted, or the other one where, sometimes the force takes a little energy out. Oh, come on. The guy can just snap somebody, a kid's neck in half. So I don't know. I think it's just fodder. It's just it is what it is. I mean,
it is one of those, there's never going to be a perfect story,
but you're right. I
take it as this. It was one of those momentary surprises. It the best I can say to answer this is it just struck him by surprise so immediately that he didn't react like he should have. Of course, he is a lot more machine now than he used to be.
Exactly.
And as we talked about last time, he's even using a different fighting method. He only fights with one arm now.
Yes, exactly.
Which, there's so many weird things that is going on. I don't know that there's any one answer to this. So Greg Berlin says, "Holy Mike Envy, great setup, guys. Long time caller, first time listener." Great to have you, Greg. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah. It's interesting. There's some of that in this too,
there is some of that in this episode
episode too. So I totally get what you're saying. Anyway, and some people have had some mixed emotions about this episode. I enjoyed it overall. I mean, it's kind of a bridge over to another episode. You got to look at it that way.
Well, there is that. And I'm just going to go out on a limb and say it doesn't have any worse plot holes than any other Star Wars movie or show we've ever seen.
Well, that's true. There you go.
They all have big issues. It's like,
exactly.
The Sarlacc pulled the spaceship down.
Yeah, exactly.
But it couldn't drag Lando Calrissian into its pit.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
I mean, there's lots of little things in all these movies and shows. It's one more that I think we're just more nitpicky now because we can watch it over and over again at our leisure.
Well, we've got so much, and plus we've got so much content to compare it to now. I mean, have you ever thought that within the past several years we would have so much Star Wars content?
Oh, this is the Star Wars I dreamt of when I was 10.
Exactly.
It's like I'm waiting for the next movie to come out for years and years and years. And now I get Star Wars every couple of months.
Now, honestly, for me, I don't even know, they talked about, Taika Waititi talking about how they're looking at him. I guess he's going to direct a Star Wars movie, actually film. I read somewhere, which his sense of humor and his directing style I like. And then there's another person that they also have. I can't remember the guy's name. They're looking at doing another, I don't know, a trilogy. But but the thing is for me is that the way it's being presented now, the vehicle now it's good enough for me. be honest
I
with
agree.
you. I mean, it's because the production value is so good. I mean, the technology used for the Mandalorian, you know, this whole like this dome that they've used. I mean,
Yes.
it's incredible. You hadn't had a chance to look at the documentary of the Mandalorian and look at the technology they're using. It's on Disney Plus. I highly recommend watching this.
Yes. They call it the volume.
Yes.
This huge LED wall that they're doing some amazing work on.
Yeah.
And they're using game engine rendering and some weird camera effects on it that it's just it's
amazing.
Stunning.
It's amazing.
I wonder how much of this we watch these shows and I wonder how much of it's real and how much of it's the volume.
Oh, I agree with you.
And it's just done so well.
I mean,
speaking of done so well,
yes,
I had several people mention they didn't think the CGI in this episode was very good. I actually kind of disagree.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought the CGI was pretty decent. For Star Wars TV show in general.
Yeah.
I don't think the Star Wars TV show CGI quite holds up to the films, but it's budget and timing and things like that.
Is there a specific? Is there a certain specific?
I'm not sure what they meant specifically.
Yeah.
My thought was maybe the spaceships. Because there are quite a few ships in this one.
Yeah, that could be,
a couple of times they do some strange little things, but
yeah.
I didn't think it was so bad. But to kind of jump ahead,
go ahead.
Something I noticed that I thought was different.
Mm-hmm.
You added pictures. More pictures.
Well, I added a few on one that I thought was interesting on top of what you had already, but
yeah. Okay, so this right here, like the lightsaber, stands out to me more than it has in this show. The lightsabers stand out more than anything I've seen before, and I'm starting to question. Is this a practical effect they're using rather than CGI? Because like the light reflections they're getting, the glow on the face they're getting that they used to not get very much of because it was all CGI, it was all done in post. I'm wondering if it's not standing out to us so much because it's actually a practical effect and not CGI this time.
Well, I think so. You know, I've seen some amazing replicas out there, you know, of lightsabers.
People fighting with real ones. Really glow, and they're going at it full speed. I'm starting to wonder if these are practical effects, and that's taking people out of the... What's funny is they actually put a practical effect in, saved time, saved money, made it look cooler technically.
Yeah.
But it looks so different
used
than
to
what
it.
we're
It kind of
used
brings
to.
it out a little. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The scene where it got dark and Obi-Wan was taking out a couple of stormtroopers kind of reminisced a little bit of, for me, was the end of the Mandalorian with season 2 with Mark Hamill, how he was doing some of his of his dueling with the super troopers, whatever they were.
Yes.
But I found some of the CGI was fine to me. I honestly, there was a couple things that I had a bigger issue with, but anyhow, there was some Easter eggs in this as well. But now, from my understanding, I guess we kind of all start out with, I guess, Obi-Wan. He's healing from the being dragged, to it, and we
got the shot of the Bacta tank that we've shown already.
That's right. And if you don't have Bacta, remember, Bacta on the go. When you don't have a tank at home, you always have Bacta on the go. So anyway, we were talking about before, man. I have never seen Bacta use, and seriously, I'm talking about. I've never seen this technology used so much in my
Yes.
in the entire Star Wars universe than in this.
They've used it so much on Disney.
Oh,
Plus.
they have. I mean,
More than anything I've ever seen, it is a little weird.
It's a bit weird.
It's like somebody said, you know what this needs? You know what this song needs? More cowbell. It needs more Bacta.
Yeah, it does. It needs more Bacta. Christopher Walken saying, we need more Bacta. So I find that interesting that becomes, and it's almost like it's like a get out of Star Wars death card, like Van Cobb from the book Mandalorian. Oh no, excuse me, not the Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett.
Book of Boba Fett.
Book of Mandalorian. But so anyway, so take us down the path, Ricky Pope.
The path.
The path. I mean, this is all about the path, trying to get...
Oh, yes, the path.
About the path. I mean, this whole thing, what do you think about the whole concept of the path? This is not really something I can remember in canon in the past.
Yeah, I feel like this is something new they've created.
Yeah.
It's an interesting concept. It's an underground railroad. It's, human smuggling, trying to save people's lives. We've got Tala, who, by the way, I think Tala is an amazing character. I really think so. She's a great actress. I think she's doing an amazing job. Yeah. I can't remember the actress's name, but we've got Imperial troops that are now siding with the rebels and saving the Jedi. I like the concept.
Oh, I do
I
too.
think it makes sense. My only concern with it is I feel like we should have more Jedi later.
Yeah.
If this is happening. That's my only concern. It's like, are we going to get, because now they're saying we're going to get a season 2. A lot of people are saying we're going to get a season 2.
I have been have been popping up on Reddit, and again, Disney said in the beginning that this was going to be
a one shot.
And I'm concerned about the idea of doing an episode 2. I kind of thought it would serve it well just to be one series.
I agree. Unless they're going to spin it off and it's not actually going to be an Obi Wan series.
Yeah.
It's just going to be some other show that spins off of this, which that could be okay.
I mean, that would be okay with me.
I wonder if, the whole path thing.
Yeah.
If at the end of this season or the end of next season, if they do 2.
Yeah.
If the path isn't destroyed and a lot of Jedi die.
Yeah.
How do we explain all these escaped Jedis that just vanish?
Well, I mean, that's, and of course we talked, when you start talking about the whole world, you talk about canon and you start getting into those animated series, like, well, for instance, we're going to eventually get to the Tomb of the Jedis is hidden in the basement of the Inquisitors, headquarters. But, some of those were actually canon within the animated series, the Star Wars animated Clone Wars series.
Yes.
And there was a couple of them in there that was actually canon in there. And
lots of people they're saying a lot of those are going to start showing up in the Ahsoka show.
That's from my understanding there. And then
by the way, Greg says, you guys are cool. I can't even listen to the podcast I did, but you guys are cool. Thanks.
Thanks anyway. We'll
I don't know how cool we are, but
no, it's
we have fun. We try.
Yes, sir. That's
hey,
we do.
He says one other thing. I'm more Trekkie, but I love the stars, be they Wars or Trek. By the way, Greg, if you really like Star Trek, you should definitely check out Dan Leckie's show, the Scotch Trekker.
Yeah,
so you should really check out Dan's show.
Stuff. So anyway, it's. I know I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but the whole thing with the Jedi Tomb, it was kind of creepy. I don't know if this is going to. I guess we can go a little bit of the tomb. What do you think about that?
Let's talk about the tomb. I thought that was weird.
I thought it was weird. I
don't understand it. Tell me there's going to be more to this, or tell me there is some reference to this in one of the other animated shows that I haven't seen yet.
Well, I mean, I saw the first one that you had, and the first one here is basically, let me see here. The title of it was a Obi Wan Kenobi, live interest, Fallen Jedi, Obi Wan reference. Yeah, see, so this right here is supposed to be Tara Senyub. It's I can't pronounce the name correctly. It's actually a Jedi Master who appears in several episodes of the Clone Wars series. So this is one of them right here.
Okay.
And of course, and also what's interesting is I don't believe it, but there's some people that are saying, and I'm going to go down to the last one here. They're saying that some people, there's some rumors that people think that in one of the scenes where Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan is running towards the interrogation chamber outside of, on the way out of the tomb, that actually Mace Windu is in one of them. Now, I don't believe that, but there is a scene.
Okay. But my big thing is,
I don't think that's
he says it's a tomb. Now, are they dead or are they in some kind of stasis?
From my understanding, and let me see, I'm going to go back to one of my other notes here that I have on here. I kind of did some little research on the tomb, and a lot of it thinks that it's more than just a tomb, more than just a trophy case. If you notice, and if you guys get a chance, our audience, you can check out some of these. We have a video podcast, but you can see it on Disney Plus. If you notice in the chamber, all their eyes are open. Mm-hmm. It was almost like this is how they looked at the last minute. But they killed a youngling. They're not holding back on this show. Disney is not holding back. Okay, so. There's a youngling. There is several Jedis or Force-sensitive people that really has no backstory, but we all know that that's the ones that are in prison in some kind of an amber liquid or whatever it is. I don't know. But there has been some talk about this may actually be Palpatine's, the Emperor Palpatine's plan to somehow use whatever they have to prolong his life. When we later on we get into the sequels and you see Palpatine all hooked up with these hoses, but I've heard that. And
so with that in mind, then the idea here would eventually be Grogu would end up in one of these.
Well, I guess that would make sense. Yeah,
that would be the goal, whether that happens or not.
Yeah. Well,
interesting.
Yeah, so I was, they're saying it's more than a Sith trophy. They said it's kind of they think it marks an origin of Star Wars plot for Palpatine, efforts to attain a natural power of immortality. So
I could see that.
Yeah.
Palpatine is basically becoming a vampire at that point.
Basically,
of some sort.
Yes, and
interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting too. Also, that's the wrong one right there. That's sorry.
That's how you bring dinosaurs
back. Jurassic Park. So now I need to ask you, how do you feel about the interrogation scene between Reva and young Leia? Just kind of give me your thoughts about this.
That is interesting. I like that Leia is so strong-willed.
Yeah.
She just doesn't back down to anybody. No. It doesn't matter. And they have kept her very consistent.
Yeah, with Carrie Fisher's. Yeah.
Princess Leia. Well, and they've kept her consistent throughout the show.
Yeah.
It's like she'll say she's going to follow the rules, she's going to be nice and do what she's supposed to do. Yeah. She tells her father she's going to do that and then immediately runs away, like she does.
Yeah.
She has the conversation with Obi-Wan on how she's not supposed to talk and immediately bullheadedly talks anyway.
Exactly.
The whole idea that she's not going to tell anybody anything, I like it.
Yeah.
I think there are a couple of moments where it's like, oh, I think that could have been acted a little better on Reva's part.
On Reva's part, yeah.
There's this moment where she's like,
yes, exactly. Where she's
it's like, is this? I really want to force choke you right now, but I'm not going to because I'll get in trouble.
Yeah, well, yes, because her father is a senator. Yes, which I think is interesting. I mean, and of course, Reva was weird. It went from very aggressive to, I'm kind of your friend. Kenobi. It went from Kenobi's dead, nobody's coming from you, to the point of, we're in this together. We're all on the same side, and then
Leia plays that line against her.
The side. So I like to tell my father, and that's because
we're all in this together.
We're on this together. We're all one big happy Empire family. So, and that didn't go well with her. And the next thing you know, we find her in the chamber scene where, in the interrogation chamber. So, that was interesting. There's a lot of Easter eggs that throws back to the New Hope and some of the older Star Wars movies. Just some of that stuff. Help me, Obi Wan, and that kind of stuff. But
I thought it was interesting. I thought the interrogation scene was probably the weakest.
I believe so.
Part of this episode.
I think so.
The dialogue was the weakest. The acting was the weakest. It wasn't horrible, but of this episode, it was probably the weakest part. Dan says that there's been talk of Reva being a star of an upcoming spinoff show. I haven't heard that. But if they keep her around, it wouldn't surprise me if they try to make her, whether it's her show or whether she's the antagonist for somebody else's show.
Well, we talked about this, the possibility, earlier on, this could be a redemption arc for her. And I'm still thinking that could be happening. And if that happens,
So we are definitely at odds here.
Yeah.
I don't dislike your idea, but I have the feeling Vader is going to kill her in the end.
I do too, and I think because of finally getting to the point.
I guess the question is, I feel like Vader's going to kill her because she failed.
Yes.
You feel like Vader's going to kill her because she's going to have a redemption arc.
Exactly. Well, just like Vader did at the very end,
Which so either way, I think we are in agreement. We think she's going to die either at the end of this series or if there's a second one. Later on. But we disagree on why we think she's going to die.
I think
but we both agree that we think Vader's going to do it, not Obi-Wan.
I think my favorite actress or actor in this was the lady who played Tala in this episode. I enjoyed how she went through the security. Her. How she was able to get out of certain situations with Reva. Where she's almost caught in the lie, but she was able to, tunnel herself out of the lie.
Yeah.
I love the scene where she walks in and tries to go into the Inquisitors. Basically, they have guards there, and how she basically browbeats one of the guards and to the point of letting her to go inside. There's some. I think she did some good acting. I liked her.
Yes. Tala is a great character.
I could see why they were, of course, again, you were talking about that they were, I guess at one time they were talking about making her Obi-Wan's love interest.
Which I can kind of feel that.
I can feel that, honestly.
It's almost like that was written in and written out later.
Yeah.
Maybe they wrote it, maybe they pulled it out.
I don't know.
It was in the script.
Yeah.
So when they were acting, they expected this to happen later on. And then they said, no, we're not going to do that now. But there's still some kind of extra feeling there.
Well, I mean, she has taken such an interest in him from the very beginning.
Yes.
I mean, of course, again, she's her own redemption arc, from being an Empire officer and seeing how the Empire is not what she was, perceived it to be. It was more about, not order, but more about, luring over people's lives. But of course, you see in this film, you see this small, almost birth of a resistance. Of the resistance, people kind of coming in terms that we're soldiers now. And of course, that's later on where later on, this is what's interesting to me. And of course, what we're looking on is on a moon. I think it's a water moon. No,
yes.
It's
now a water moon. Yes.
Yes.
That's what they said.
A water moon. What's the deal about Kenobi going all Gungan? Gungan going underwater.
So there's lots of little things here that are like
I want to have some fun with this.
To other things. I mean, obviously we have the back to tank.
Yeah.
We have let me see. We have the communicators from episode 4.
Exactly.
We got the breathing mechanisms from episode 1.
Yes.
Let's see. We've got somebody left a communicator on the by itself. That was an episode 4 throwback to, C-3PO leaves the communicator outside the closet. There were lots of little callbacks
like
to the old movies in this episode that I thought were nice little quick Easter egg nostalgia kind of things.
But
if you caught them, they were fun. If you missed them, they didn't matter.
But why? Okay, I got a couple of things, and this is my only gripes here. Number one, why would you put a door on the bottom of the ocean? Okay, that's the other thing. So why would you have glass so fragile that a blaster can make it crack? Okay, I mean, the scene where the water just comes through, and of course, Obi Wan, he with the Force, he keeps it from cracking until there's enough time to get out of the way and drown the troopers. But I thought to myself, wait a minute, this is poor craftsmanship if I've ever seen one in my life. This is the kind of glass they are using that can easily just, I mean, come on.
This
thicker,
these are the plot holes these are the plot holes people don't complain about as much. But they're still there.
But they're there, and it's fun to talk about, and it's funny to me because it's like, those are the things I see and I laugh about thinking, man, do not buy from this glass company. That's all I have to say. And why would
Vader
you have
Glass Incorporated?
And why would you have glass so far underneath the sea anyhow? I mean, it's not an aquarium. You're not charging tickets to see.
What are they looking at? Are they're looking at the fish swimming by?
I don't know. I mean, so anyway, that's
now I will say the door on the bottom of the ocean. I almost buy that.
Yeah,
simply because it is a water planet.
I know.
Maybe it's cheaper to have a submarine go from place to place.
Because I've seen them all over Star Wars submarines. But
I know.
Yes,
I mean.
Unless it's one of those Gungan ones.
We did actually. I was going to say we did have the Gungan one.
Which that I'm trying to forget. But one thing I noticed is that, throughout the entire journey, you've seen Kenobi where he's, of course, one of the biggest scenes is that, after 10 years, between him and Vader says, you've become weak, and he has, he closed himself off from the Force for so long, Kenobi did because of, what has happened in the past. And so
we see him practicing some.
Yeah. But there was one scene, and I love it, where Taylor says, for you to be able to help Leia, you got to forget the past. You have to basically forgive yourself to be able to move forward in the Force. And there's some of that there. I mean, there's some of that stuff, his fear, his fear and his anger and what he's done in the past, kind of, with Anakin going through the same thing, it's keeping him from, I think, using the Force in a way that, he used to use it back in the day. So I think there's going to be some.
I don't see I thought I had the line. I thought I had the line, a screenshot of the line.
The line itself.
She says something to the effect of, "Your body is not the only thing that needs to heal."
Oh, that's a good line.
It's a great line. It's a great line. Where this is a little bit like, when Marvel did the WandaVision.
Yes.
That whole show was about grief.
Yes.
And now we've got, now we're dealing with Obi-Wan, and it's not grief he's dealing with. It's more like, PTSD he's dealing with.
Yeah, I mean,
he's fought a war. He feels like he killed his best friend.
Yeah.
And then he finds out his best friend's not dead, but his best friend is now trying to literally kill him.
Yes, and others to get it.
Yeah.
Others that it's in his way. So,
yes.
And I'm sure it's a shocker for him when he walked in the tomb and he sees like a youngling,
yes.
in the tomb. I mean, that just shows you just how much evil that's happened with the Empire and the dark side. But so I think it's almost a story arc for him. Because we know eventually he'll have to have his strength again in the Force. And
he's getting better. I mean, he holds the water back. He's able to deflect blaster fire again. He's getting there.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not all the way there, but he's getting there.
There's a funny scene where there's that two patrol troopers. They walk by. That's the one where Obi-Wan uses the whole there's a noise from over there because he makes a noise because the whatever microphone somebody says something in the microphone, the troopers basically hear it, they go towards him, he uses the Force. But my favorite part is when you just see the two troopers walking by and they're just talking. He said, "This place gives me the creeps."
I loved that.
Yeah, hopefully they'll have we don't have to be stationed here for much longer,
Yes.
And
I thought that was a nice little.
Yeah.
There's some nice little comic relief mixed in here. And I think that also kind of sets some of the fans off.
Yeah.
They don't it's like they almost don't want comic relief. They want a super serious Star Wars.
Yeah, but that's not really, I mean
there's always been comic relief
and some humor in it. Yeah.
Yes, R2D2 and C3PO were the comic relief. In the first three movies. That's what they were there for. And then, then they tried to, make Jar Jar happen.
Yeah. Yeah, we won't. Yeah. Yeah. I hope he doesn't get the back to tank. And the other thing I'm kind of thinking, on the, I'm looking through here, I'm thinking to myself, okay, the T-47s. Okay, I'm getting on these vehicles that were supposed to be for sewage. They made a comment something about T-47s, in which if you see these T-47s, I mean they're snow speeders.
Well, they're not snow speeders.
They're
not snow speeders.
No.
Okay, so this is definitely canon, and this is Star Wars Episode 5 lore. They were prepping the speeders for the cold weather and snow. They weren't snow speeders.
Well, no.
They're just speeders.
But most people will see that and they'll refer back to Empire Strikes Back and these snow speeders, which I thought was interesting. But I didn't know they could hover. That was one thing I did not know.
I did not know that either. That was kind of cool.
That was, yes, they can hover. And then, but one of the things that kind of, I don't know, it was kind of corny for me, and maybe it wasn't for you, is when one of the speeders tried to make it away. She threw a container at it, and it blew up. I don't know how I felt about that, but that was kind of weird. But
that's one of those convenient plot devices.
Yeah, exactly. But
we needed somebody to die to make the stakes higher because we know Leia and Obi-Wan are not going to die. I get it. I get why they did it. I don't know that I agree with them, with how they did it. Dan asked, didn't Obi-Wan already have that horrific moment when Anakin killed the group of kids when Order 66 was declared? And he did see the footage.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, definitely. There's some things there.
Yeah, there's a lot of reminders, and I think the tomb was a reminder for him how bad the situation was. But again, he's asking himself, okay, why are they here? They can't just be trophies. I mean, some of these are not, these great Jedis.
Yes.
And so,
my question is, are they alive? Are they in some kind of stasis? Or are they dead in amber?
It's almost like at their last moment, the surprise of the last moment of them meeting their doom, and how they have them preserved like that. I have no clue. I don't know if they even will kind of explain that later on. I don't know. But now we have, what is it, 2 more episodes?
Only 2 more episodes.
2 more episodes. And of course, it ends, of course, with, Darth Vader basically, well, I don't know if you have a photo of the escape. Now, this was kind of weird.
I don't have, this is as close as I have to the escape. We got Reva finally really showing off her lightsaber skills, which actually isn't bad. Her choreography is pretty good there. And then we have Vader about to choke her to death because she has failed.
Yes.
And then we get the rhyming again.
Yeah, we get the rhyming
where
again.
Star Wars always has to rhyme.
Yes.
Where she says, "I let them go. I put a tracker on them."
Exactly.
And and that's something we see later on in the movies. They track the. Leia says they let us go. They let us escape.
Yeah.
They're tracking us.
And Lola.
And then there's Lola.
Lola, where they put the tracker in. It was interesting to me. What do you think about the scene where Obi-Wan was giving a officer's cap and a gigantic trench coat, and Leia was underneath it?
Oh my goodness! This is the most hysterical
I'm glad
thing.
that you have it.
It's the most hysterical thing.
This reminds me of, I wish just for the comedy that she was on top of his shoulders and they would have the coat and it looked like one big tall person. Yes. Because that's what it reminded me of.
Oh, I know. Me too. I was looking at it going, well, that guy has 4 feet.
Exactly.
I mean, I know it's a weird universe, but I don't know of anybody who has 4 feet where 2 of them are much smaller and off to the side. But once again, this is one of those. So you have to suspend just enough belief to go.
Yeah.
Everyone else is so distracted.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not that it's not that they didn't notice or that they wouldn't have noticed under normal circumstances. It's that everybody's rushing around so much, they just aren't paying enough attention to realize that it's happening. That's the only way I can say that works. I thought it was funny.
Yeah. For me, like the bottom line, I was telling somebody even today, I said, listen, I enjoyed it. There was a lot of things I can poke holes of and I can make fun of because that's how I am. I think it's funny seeing some of these little things and pointing them out. But overall, it's a Star Wars universe, and we've seen them before. I mean, if you watch The New Hope, the original that we all our age coveted, the original. There's so many things to poke holes through if you want to.
Oh, I know.
So. Anyway, and the thing I get so frustrated with, Dan made a comment. Go ahead and read that, Ricky.
Yeah, Dan says, I was so glad they didn't go down the road of once again destroying Lola since they'd already done that in the series.
Yeah, poor Lola.
Yeah. Well, the minute she had Lola, I was like, something's up there.
Yeah, exactly.
But I wasn't sure what it was going to be.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, then it became obvious. As soon as she said there was a tracker, I was like,
exactly.
Oh, it's Lola's the tracker. That's going to make
Lola.
sense. So Greg asked an interesting, this is just a general show question that Greg asked.
Okay.
He said, what's your policy on flashback nerd stuff? I'd like to hear your thoughts on mock superhero movies like The Mystery Men or whatever when you get a chance, if you want. Greg, what we have been doing when we have time, we talk a lot about Star Wars, Marvel. What's the new thing that is going on? We do that quite a bit, but there's always gaps along the way.
Yeah, exactly.
And in those gaps along the way, we do, flashback reviews.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about the black hole one time on the show. We're started. We did Iron Man, the first Iron Man movie once. We're going to start going through all the old Marvel movies, all the old Star Wars movies as well as we have time. And I'm sure there will be things. By the way, Mystery Men is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
It is a great movie.
It's a good movie.
I'm sure we will do something like that at some
The Spleen.
The Spleen. The PMS Avenger.
No.
But I'm sure we will do something like that at some point, and that would be a great one to do. Actually, we should put that on our list.
We'll put that on the list. That's great. It gives me an excuse to watch it again. That's awesome.
Dan says this episode was flawless in my opinion. I loved it all the way through. Such a great episode, and that's coming from a Star Trek fan.
Man, I love him. Great guy.
I'm glad you like it, Dan.
Appreciate it.
I really did think it was a fun episode.
It was fun. Yeah.
Are there some flaws? Definitely there's some flaws, but they all have some flaws. There were lots of interesting things that I want to know more about that I'm afraid we're never going to hear about.
I'm afraid not either, but
I want to know more about the tomb.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid we're never going to know exactly what that is. I think it's going to be some cool Easter egg that they put in there that Dave Filoni wants to use sometime in the future.
Oh, I'm sure. Some
far-flung future show he has plans for, and he goes, "Hey, we have to put this in because I'm going to use this eventually."
Now, I do have a question in this, and of course, we talked about this for let's use Clone Wars animated series. You have you have the story of the week. Okay, there may be some story arcs, but there are a lot of
it's I call it Monster of the Week.
Monster of the Week kind of thing.
That's what the Mandalorian is basically Monster of the Week.
Yeah.
The Book of Boba Fett was a little bit, but a little less.
A little less, yeah.
Obi Wan Kenobi definitely isn't. This feels like
it's a story arc.
A 5-hour movie.
And that's what I was getting at. Is it fair to judge an episode without seeing the entire, I like to call, movie?
In this instance, I think it's hard to do.
Yeah.
It's hard to judge a single episode on its own and complain about lots of plot holes that may or may not be fixed in the next 2 episodes.
Exactly.
I think that is something to be aware of.
Yeah, exactly.
This is not the Monster of the Week.
No.
It's if you watched the middle episode of this, a lot wouldn't make sense.
No, exactly.
Like if somebody dropped you into this episode, would it make sense?
Mm-mm. No.
You'd be like, why? Well, wait, Obi-Wan went to go watch Luke. Why is he with Leia?
Yeah, exactly.
Wait,
exactly. Who's
this third sister girl? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Why is Vader mad at the third sister?
One thing
Other than Vader is mad at everybody all the time.
I thought was interesting. There was a scene interrogation with Reva and Leia, and one was interesting to me was that she was, she took Lola, and she said, Lola, my droid was taken away from me. I said, many things was taken away from me, and there's a story there somewhere.
Yes,
there's a story there, and I wonder if we get to see something from
what that story is. Honestly, I think hearing that story could be more interesting than some of the things that we've seen in some other shows.
I think so.
That could be good.
Yeah.
If they give her the opportunity to share that story in more than just a moment, I think it could be good. What I don't want Mandalorian season 2.5 in the middle of Boba Fett. I don't want Reva season 0.5 in the middle of my Obi Wan Kenobi show.
I agree.
That being said, giving her an opportunity to say, and the question is, who is she? This goes back to your.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You are going to be right on this one. This goes back to your story arc idea. Who took this away from her?
Yeah, exactly.
Did the Empire take this away from her, or is this something that was taken away from her when she was taken from her home by the Jedi?
Yeah, exactly.
To be a youngling.
Exactly. I mean,
the assumption is everybody is pushing the idea that she is one of the younglings at the Jedi Temple during Order 66, and that she survived and became a Inquisitor.
Yeah,
and I definitely can buy that logic. So the question then becomes, who exactly took it away from her? If she's implying that Vader and the Empire took it away from her, then is a very likelihood she's going to have a story, or going to have some sort of redemption arc, and it's going to be cool.
Well, and part of it too,
if she still blames the Jedi, like Anakin, then she's probably just going to die because she failed.
Now, a question for you too: is she hell bent to get Obi-Wan because something happened where she blames Obi-Wan, or it's all about getting favor with Vader? Because she's been dogmatic. I mean, like a laser point. There's almost this hate towards Kenobi, as if you took this away from me.
Well, that's another option of, who is this? Or is it one of those, I have to somehow get Kenobi in a position where I can have my redemption arc?
Yeah, exactly.
And now I'm setting Kenobi up to defeat Vader for me.
I
don't know. I don't know where we're going on this.
I don't know. And we're going to find out soon.
Dan asks, is there a reason she's called the third sister? They're all called a number and a brother or a sister. I don't know specifically why she's called the third sister.
And I almost think there's
like the Inquisitors have that code. It is they are a number and either a brother or a sister.
It's almost like a cult of some kind. I don't know, some religious type of.
But it doesn't seem to be a ranking.
No,
because the fifth brother, it always appears as though the fifth brother is higher ranking than she is, and she's the third sister,
and somehow she's undercutting him from what he feel that it should be his place. So I'm not sure exactly what the numerations mean. But that is how they numerate or that's how they name the Inquisitors. And they treat her as the weakest. I mean, they're all different certain species, and they treat her as if she is the less. And so anyway,
Dan says clones, perhaps. I don't believe the Inquisitors are supposed to be clones. I believe they are only supposed to be Force-sensitive people that have been collected and trained to use the Force, to use the dark side, I guess.
But in the Clone War,
I haven't seen anything about Inquisitors being clones. Although cloning is a big part of Star Wars now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, in the Inquisitor, I mean, again, it's in the animation series, the Rebels. There's a lot to do with the Inquisitors. So but anyhow,
and it's never implied in that they're clones.
Yeah. So, but anyway, man, we have hitting past the hour. And
I've exhausted my knowledge of this.
Oh my goodness! But
episode.
Anyhow, But before we get off, remember, for those who do not have Back to Home, remember you have Back to On the Go, brought to you by the very people who brought to you Disney Plus. You know, the people who can bring people back to life because they can make more money.
Back to life. Back to reality.
Back to Okay, I think we milked that enough. We backed it enough.
So.
We need to back the truck up.
All right, shall we end it?
We should. And hey, remember next week, next Friday, we'll be here. It's again 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern time. You can get all our stuff on speakingnerdy.com. You can listen to our podcast. We also have of course, all our content on the YouTubes itself. And so again, anything you want to add to that?
The audio podcast is available everywhere you can find podcasts.
That's right.
Where it should be.
It should
and if you
be.
don't find it, let us know.
Let us know.
Figure it out.
We'll put some Bacta in there. So, okay, buddy, I think we're done.
All right.
I think
it's the Speaking Back to podcast with your host, Mr. Mike Shilling.
Hey, my good friend and compadre, Mr. Ricky Poe.
Sorry, I had to say back to one more time.
That's okay. I have like a sunburn. And make sure I put some of that stuff on here. My goodness. I really do wish I had a Bacta tank at home.
Dan says he's going back to the Batcave.
This ain't Bacta.